Good morning and welcome to Elevenses. I'm Kevin Williams of Survival Skills Rider Training. This is my twice weekly webcast. It's show number 394. It's Wednesday the 20th of December. Excuse me. And this show is going out recorded. So it's a fairly quick one today. No in-depth feature, I'm afraid, at the end. I'll come back to that on the next live show. But we do have news about Northern Trains having reversed their Whitby biking ban. A bike cop in Vietnam has been suspended after kicking a rider off his own bike. And there's news about two e-stepscooter companies that have failed. And unfortunately, the 2024 Tandragee 100 is also cancelled for this year. We'll be asking if a new hybrid from Kawasaki is on the way. There's rumours that there could be a Versys hybrid about to appear. And Sim has showed off an adventure scooter. And we'll finish off with a pocket adventure bike from Benelli. So that's it for today. Stay with me for the next 25-30 minutes or so. Normally these shows go out live, of course. Today, as I say, it is a recorded show. So if you do have any comments, anything you want to ask, I will be able to get back to you, but not live today for obvious reasons. So if you've got a question, drop it into the comment stream and I will come back to you at some point today. All right, okay, so rapidly then on with the news. Now, first thing I just want to say very quickly is don't forget that the latest of my online talk series events went out on Monday. You can still book that on Catch Up, and if you do, I'd be very grateful. So it was quite an interesting talk. I think got some positive feedback from the people who did come in live about the items. So if you do want to come along, hop over to my coffee page, look in the shop, and you'll find the link to purchase a seat for the catch-up version over there. Right, okay, so on with the show rapidly enough. What have we got for you today? Well, the weather forecast, let's start with that. The main feature of the weather over the next few days is going to be wind. Now, this morning here in London, it's a lovely sunny morning. It's quite still, actually. A little bit of cloud appearing to the west there, but it is fine and sunny and rather mild. But cloud is going to build across the country. It will come in from the north and west with a spell of heavy rain too. And the key feature is that winds are going to pick up across the country. As I say, it's pretty still here at the moment, but it won't remain that way. Now, overnight and into Thursday, winds are going to strengthen to gale force, which is likely to cause travel disruption across Scotland and the north of England. I believe there is a weather warning in force. Now, elsewhere, Thursday is going to remain windy across pretty much the entire country, and it will be showery as well. A lot of cloud over the south of England. There'll be a belt of brighter weather through the Midlands. The strongest winds will also push down over the east coast overnight on Thursday. Friday, it's still windy. It's colder in the north. Belt of cold air will come in. It'll bring showers with it. They could turn wintry over the hills. Saturday, it looks like more rain for the far north, and again snow over the hills of Scotland in particular. Sunday, Christmas Eve, looks much calmer, and it'll still be relatively mild everywhere except the extreme north, so that could be your best bet for a biking day today. Right, so on with the news then. What have we got for you? Well, the first thing is the U-turn on the parking ban that was put in place recently at Whitby railway station by Northern Trains. Now, it came in very unexpectedly. There was no warning. All that happened was that signs went up saying no bikes and warning of a £50 fine if you were so temerarious to park a motorcycle in the car park. Now, many of the bikers who do use the car park visit the Whistle Stop Cafe that is adjacent to the station building, and it's a popular venue there for a bike night on Thursdays. Now, of course, whether or not you want the the bikers filling up the car park on Thursday nights is one thing, but of course it also prevented riders who actually wanted to ride to the station to catch a train from parking. So very predictably, the ban caused an immediate outcry. Riders' rights organisations got involved, demanding explanations amidst claims of discrimination and the threats of demonstrations. And so a Northern Trains spokesperson was quoted as saying, "After listening to feedback from community groups, we will be lifting the ban on motorcycles at Whitby Station car park." Now apparently signs came down almost immediately, and the bike parking bay that was there, as I showed last week, rather ungainly, unawkward at one, just basically a car parking space with a sort of motorcycles part painted on it. So how you can make the best use of that on a bike, I don't know, but anyway, it does sound, reading between the lines, like there could well be parking charges for motorcyclists to come in future. Anyway, good news if you like the cafe at Whitby. Hi Tom, I visited again, I haven't been there for donkey's years. Anyway, Ho Chi Minh City, another place I've never been to. Traffic police have suspended an officer who was caught on camera kicking a motorcyclist who refused to pull over. Captain Duong Hai was patrolling 2 weeks ago when he saw a scooter rider riding the wrong way down the lane, and he signalled him to stop. Well, the rider then attempted to flee the scene, weaving through traffic, riding up onto the pavement, and when Captain Hai caught up with him, he kicked out, first to the bike, but as that didn't stop the scooter rider, he kicked him again, this time in the body, causing him to crash into another scooter. And the incident was, naturally enough in these days, caught on dashcam, and by the following day it had gone viral over social media. Now, the 30-year-old scooter rider has been charged with driving in the wrong lane, disobeying police orders, and having no rider's license or vehicle registration. But the officer has been suspended, presumably facing some disciplinary action, because the police said his behaviour affected the image of traffic police and posed a danger to other drivers. So I doubt he's going to get off scot-free either. Now, you may not be particularly upset to hear that 2 e-scooter startups have failed in the last few days. The startup that created Link scooters in the US and Europe, Super Pedestrian, they operated in 60 cities in those across Europe and the US. They're also known for having self-diagnostic software on their scooters. Now, they are shutting down their US-based shared scooter operation on December the 31st, and they are looking to sell the European business, and the startup company had raised $125 million just 18 months ago, but they say they're shutting down for financial reasons. Meanwhile, over in Berlin, UNO has declared bankruptcy. Now, they were founded 10 years ago. The business employed around 50 staff members, and they sold their scooters in Germany, France, Austria, and the Netherlands, presumably private-owned ones. And they had managed to raise a total of almost 40 million euros in funding, but they have run into financial difficulties, and they blame increased material and transport costs, higher operational costs, and significantly decreased demand due to inflation. I'd also suggest that probably the bubble has burst. As with all these things, there is a sort of surge of interest. People dash out and buy them, and then there is a drop-off on demand because the people who wanted them have got them. And you know, you don't replace things like this every day. I think this is exactly the problem that the bicycle industry has found itself in. You'll remember I mentioned the impact of that on KTM just the other day. So anyway, business operations for UNO will continue during the insolvency proceedings because they aim to restructure the business and assets. Okay, now don't forget, if you are enjoying the show, it goes out every Wednesday and Sunday. It goes out live nearly all the time. Very occasionally, like today, it's recorded, and very, very rarely I miss a show. If you want to catch up, best place to go is my Survival Skills UK channel over on YouTube, where you'll find all the shows listed, and you can find that the other shows, like my 60-second series of safety and science. Go and have a look and catch up with anything you've missed. Right, something you will definitely miss next year is the Tandragee 100 road race. It has been cancelled. A statement was issued by the clerk of the course, Suzanne Forsyth, on behalf of the North Armagh Club, which organises it, and they said the decision had been reached with deep regret, and what they blamed was a continued failure to resurface part of the 5.3-mile circuit. The organising club said they'd been unable to gain the commitment necessary for resurfacing to be carried out in time to meet extended deadlines. So why cancel now in December when the race wouldn't be till next year? Well, the answer is basically the need to add the race to the insurance for covering events in Ulster in 2024, and also the need to process the road closing order. So I need time for that, and unfortunately the clock has run out. So in 2022, the comeback event after the COVID cancellations of 2020 and 2021, racing was abandoned because of a series of crashes amidst persistent rain and deteriorating conditions. The surfacing issue also caused the cancellation of the 2023 races, so it's not as if the local council haven't had time to work with the organisers here, but they are still hoping that they can bring racing back to Tandragee in 2025. Now, back on the 30th of November, a press release issued by the Motorcycle Union of Ireland, the Ulster Centre, indicated that they were 90% complete towards securing insurance for the 2024 season, and they believe that everything will be in place to cover all the race events that do go ahead by the new year. Now, you may remember for 2023, the governing body had to be assisted to meet the soaring insurance costs. Event at the time, they actually said they would have to cancel everything. But they did get the money together, and it was thanks to contributions from the general public through the setting up of a crowdfunding page. So the Cookstown 100 road races, they're scheduled for 26th, 27th of April next year. The Northwest 200, it goes ahead on the 8th to the 11th of May, and the Armoy road races, they run the final weekend in July, which is the 26th, 27th. If you want to get a dose of Irish road racing, those are 3 races from Northern Ireland. I'm not sure what's happening in Southern Ireland at the moment, but definitely, if you've never been to a road race or like that, go. It's an amazing event. All right, okay, let's move on and have a quick look at some motorcycles. Now, what have we got for you today? First things first, a very quick one. A patent drawing has come to light, and it reveals a third Kawasaki hybrid, and this time it looks like it's based on the Versys adventure bike. Now, just like the naked Z7 and the sports Ninja 7 hybrids, the existing 650 twin cylinder motor, that'll be removed, and it'll be replaced with the 400 twin and the hybrid electric motor found on those machines. Now, frankly, it does actually look a lot more usable than the Kawasaki hydrogen prototype that I showed last time out. Now, that's all in the future. Here's something that's definitely coming to the UK. Let me just zoom in on that so you can see that a little bit more clearly. There it is. Now, personally, I find it a little bit baffling, but the adventure scooter, which I think is a mongrel mix of styles, if ever there was one, it's actually a hot seller in Europe. It's also a hot target for bike thieves, perhaps not surprisingly. So it's no big surprise that the Taiwanese brand Sim, who already have some mid-range sort of commuter scooters, have released their own variation on the theme. So you get the sort of rugged bodywork, the dual-purpose tyres. Unusually, the bike gets an aluminium swing arm. You do get relatively long travel suspension at both ends. You also get an underbody skid plate. You can just see it in the picture there. And you get a fancy upswept exhaust on the other side of the bike. Now, more unusually, the bike also gets the sorry, start again. The 399 liquid cooled fuel injected single cylinder engine, you get a counterbalancer on that to keep the vibes at bay. It offers a reasonably healthy 35 horsepower, 26 kilowatts, 36 newton meters, 27 pound-feet of torque, so it is an A2 compliant motorcycle. Bosch ABS at both ends. The rear end, you can turn the ABS off, which of course is absolutely essential if you're riding off-road. You do get traction control too, although frankly with 35 horsepower you're not too likely to need it, I wouldn't have thought. There's full LED lighting, and the bike also gets something that's appearing on more and more machines, which is emergency braking alert system. Now this flashes the brake light when the bike is detected as braking heavily. No release date, no price yet, but since they're existing as 300, the Cruise Sim, what the name of that is, it's priced at fairly eye-watering 5,500 actually. I wouldn't expect to see it under about £6,500, and I have to ask, what have happened to Sim as an affordably priced brand? One that probably will be fairly affordably priced though is this bike here. This is the new Benelli BKX 300. Now Benelli describes this as a new adventure bike dedicated to the younger generation of riders, a bike designed for those who want to move freely and take on new routes. An all new round two-wheeler, easy and light, built to offer optimum handling in all conditions, guaranteed fun both on asphalt and off-road. A bike made for beginners looking for adventure, but also for those who don't want to miss out on the pleasure of riding a compact, dynamic, innovatively styled motorbike. Well, I'm not quite sure I'd call it innovatively styled. It looks pretty much like anything else in the class, but I do think they are missing a bit of trick if they're only aiming at youngsters. More and more riders seem to be reverting to smaller, lighter machines because they're less demanding to ride, particularly if the owner has any inclination to take them off tarmac. I'm not sure Benelli here would be up to a muddy trail, but it certainly looks like it would capably deal with some sort of dry gravel or dry mud. So let's just talk about the engine for a moment. It's a brand new motor, but it is an evolution of their current liquid cooled double overhead cam 4-valve single 250 motor, which you'll already find in the TRK 251 and the Leoncini 250. So it's now taken out to 292 thanks to a bigger bore. You also get a new counterbalance shaft, obviously to reduce the vibrations, and also they say to increase reliability. The bigger bore allows for a bigger intake and exhaust valves on either side, and you also get a redesigned combustion chamber, and that is also a match to a bigger 42mm throttle body. In full Euro 5 configuration, the bike delivers a pretty decent 29 horsepower, 21.5 kilowatts at 9,000 RPM. The exhaust system itself is also new and retuned. You get a longer manifold, it says, for more torque, which is a reasonably healthy 24.5 newton meters at 7,000 RPM, all delivered through a 6-speed gearbox with a back torque limiting slipper clutch. Absolutely essential on a modern bike, of course. I don't know how we manage without them. You also get one of these clutch lever actuation force reduction devices, which makes it easier to pull the clutch in. Blimey, we never did without muscles in our day. Anyway, the frame is a conventional steel double cradle. The front forks are 41mm upside down, 180mm travel, and the rear gets a preloaded adjustable monoshock. But for a budget bike, one interesting thing is it does actually get a rising rate linkage. You also get fairly decent 180mm travel at the rear, so it will bounce over the bumps hopefully. Fuel tank carries 13 litres, which I would hope should give the bike a range of approaching 200 miles. The spoked wheels do get aluminium alloy hubs and rims as well, which means you have to be a little bit careful with them because steel spokes and alloy rims tend to wear each other out if they're not kept in tip-top condition. 19-inch at the front, 17-inch at the rear, 190, 140, 80 tyres. Front brake is a single 280mm floating disc with a 4-piston caliper, probably Benelli's own brand as it was on the other bike, and the rear gets a single smaller disc with a single piston floating caliper. You get full LED instrumentation, of course, and a useful USB socket. Now, Benelli, of course, are built in China by QJ Motor. Their machines are developed and styled, however, in the Benelli Centre at Pesaro. Now, one feature I suspect I won't like is the combo solution, which appears to integrate the tail and brake lights with the turn indicators. You can just sort of see that both of the indicators are actually lit up red there. Now, I honestly think this is a seriously backward development. It's always a darn sight easier to see lights when they're not part of the same light unit. I assume that the red light will flash yellow when you're indicating, but then you lose one of your brake lights. This seems to be, to me, a particularly backward maneuver. I can't say that I like the colour scheme either, or rather the lack of it. It kind of reminds me of a concrete block of flats. Anyway, there is a rather garish naked sibling on offer, this one here, and I can't say I like that either, with the yellow flashes on the bodywork and those wheel tapes, horrible things. But at least it doesn't look like the sign of a block of flats. No price on either machine, but expect to see them next year. Right, that is it. It's time to wrap up today's 11s. As I said, it is a short one. If you have enjoyed the show, do please take a moment to subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my Facebook page, do like the individual videos, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, use the thumbs up icons, and check out my other videos. As I said, 60-second safety, 60-second science over on YouTube. They all offer you really useful information, but a quick, easy to digest format. And please tell other people about survival skills on YouTube. Do share the link with your riding buddies. That's it for today. Thank you very much for looking in. Apologies for the short show and the recording. I will be back live on Sunday, so see you then. Bye for now.